Hello.
Man, every time I hear that, I think about Happy Gilmore. It's like,
That's all I can see.
awesome. That was the cheesiest thing I've ever heard. How's everybody? Good. That's awesome. Today, man, I'm loud. Like, that's why I'm ringing.
It's good. He needs to be loud.
Today, we're going to be talking about intimacy. And a lot of times, like my daughters last night were saying they were going to serve anywhere today other than being here. My mom's thinking about going to Church's Chicken or something. I don't know. A lot of times, though, when we talk about intimacy, the first thing that comes to our mind is sex.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Yeah. We were singing that the other night in the car last night because that's what comes to your head when you think about that. And
I was thinking.
Ella
I thought we were going to go all the way.
No. Ella was Stop.
Not like what you think I said.
Ella was in the hallway this morning. She said, "Mom, please tell me you're not going to sing that song." No.
So, intimacy, though, is something I think we don't really understand a lot about. Intimacy is not just sex. I would even go so far as to say intimacy may lead to sex. But intimacy is that giving of yourself fully to your spouse or even to God, or it's that
He created.
It's that complete sacrifice or laying down of yourself, and to me, it's what we're all looking for. It's why we get married. It's why we have relationships. It's that drawing or that longing in us to be intimate. See, that's put into us because we are created in God's image. So you may not realize this, you may not even believe in God, and that's cool too, but what happens to us as humans is that we were created in God's image, and so we have this desire to be one with God, and it's deep within us, and it's such a strong drawing that people look for that in a million different ways, and I feel that the seeking or the longing after intimacy is the root of drug addiction. I believe it's the root of really all addictions. I believe it's the root of sexual impurity. I believe it's the root of so many things because it is so powerful. And so today we want to talk about the power of intimacy to strengthen and to make your marriage unbreakable and completely fulfilling and satisfying. And there's only one way to do that, and that's God's way. And I know a lot of you are like, dang, man, I knew you were going to talk about that. But God has a plan for your lives. God has a plan for your marriage. God is for your marriage, and I hope you get that. I know so many of us go through these times where we struggle and we lose sight of that, but God is really for us, and He's for our marriage. And so today we want to talk about things that are barriers to intimacy, things that cause it to be broken, and then some things that'll work to build it.
So if you're not married, this is something you need to, you need to clue in on this if you're planning on ever getting married, and things you really need to, you need to settle this now.
One of the things, like if you're not married here today, or if you've been married, or if you're not married now but getting married, or wherever you fall on it, the things that we do now in preparation or outside of marriage greatly impacts the intimacy that we're able to have in marriage. I think so many times people get so bent out of shape about the church or about the teachings of God and about being a Christian because Christians are against sex. Well, I'm not. I'm like for it. Like, I mean, very much for it. But I saw this thing that said 7 teachings out of the Bible that people hate or don't think are relevant, and one of them was premarital sex. And the reason that we don't like that we like to have premarital sex, or that we don't like to talk about not having premarital sex, is because we want to do what we want to do. Well, that's all there is to it. And because we're longing for the intimacy that we get the cart before the horse, and then what is supposed to be intimate and strengthen your relationships becomes the exact opposite. It becomes extremely destructive in your relationship. It puts up barriers. It causes trust issues. It breaks down future relationships. It has emotional things. It has supernatural, spiritual things that get involved in soul ties and things that you don't know about or are completely unaware of. And so it's not like the church is just trying to ruin your fun or control. I could care less what you do. I mean, I'm not trying to control your sex life, right? Like, I'm telling you this because this is good for you. I come here every week, and why we sit here is because we want you to have the best possible life. It's not so I can try to challenge you to ruin your life or see how disciplined you can be, or just to see if we can control what you do or whatever. I don't really care. You can go destroy yourself. I mean, it's totally up to you, but what we want to share with you is how not to do that. You appreciate that at least, right?
So we've been on the other side. I mean, we've been married 25 years, coming February, and we did it all wrong. I'll just tell you. I mean, we just did it wrong. So, I mean, we come from the other side, and then we did everything wrong. Yeah. So we can
tell you what not to do. By the grace of God,
we're still here. So, we want to share what we have found since Jesus, right? I mean,
since we found life, and that's really the thing, man. When you've done things wrong, you search and you search and you search and you search, and then all of a sudden God resurrects you from the dead and He makes you alive, and it's like, man, if I had only known this, or if I could teach my kids this, or if I could help somebody else to not do and not waste all of the years. If I could give away what God has given me, man, I would just give it to you.
Right.
But you have to take it, you have to receive it, and it has to become real and living in your life. And it's just amazing.
Intimacy nowadays, wow, I mean, it's way different than when we first got married. Things are cray now.
Not like that.
I can't believe some of the
maybe
stuff
a little like that
goes on. I'm just like, wow.
What?
It's not I don't know. Nowadays it's just crazy.
I'm blushing.
It's crazy. So, but anyway, so let's kind of get going. We're kind of going to go through some of these things that that are different now than they were, when we used to sleep in twin beds.
We did?
No.
I'm like, man, I must have drank way more than I thought.
No. Well, maybe some nights. But anyway, some barriers to your intimacy. We're going to talk about 2 main ones, but there are a ton more. But two main different ones, okay? The first one I'm going to talk about is sexual impurity. When it's impure, it's not sexual purity. And that can be anything, receiving or giving sexual pleasure and satisfaction from someone other than your spouse. And this could be, literally like with the person, or there's way more opportunity nowadays than when we first got married. TV screens or, computers, cell phones. It's crazy now what's out there and how much it gets in the way and creates this barrier. For women, it's, they're not, they were the same. We're the same nowadays as, as the men are with viewing all that kind of stuff, and romance novels, and really, what was the movie that?
50 Shades.
Oh my gosh, really? 50 Shades of whatever.
We didn't watch it.
We did not watch it. Well, you already
we read
know.
the books.
We don't.
We did.
No, we
I don't even
didn't.
know what it's about, man.
No. And Magic Mike, come on. All you're doing with all of that kind of junk is creating a barrier between you and your spouse, because all of that stuff is fantasy. And with some of it, it's bad fantasy. It's not even. It's not right. It's not. It's way far away from what God intended it to be. So at any time that you're partaking in any of this stuff, you're getting a pleasure from something other than your spouse. You're creating a barrier between you and your spouse.
I think lust it's what we're talking about, and I think I would define lust as fake intimacy. It has the appearance and the cell of intimacy, but there's no substance to it. There's no, it'll never take you to that place that God created you for. And so when we partake in pornography or any other kind of lust, all we're doing is buying the lie. And then you put that lie on your spouse, and then nobody can live up to that lie ever. And it just becomes a cycle, and it becomes a habit, and it becomes an addiction and all these things. And it's so much more than just, it's more than just, don't look at porn. I don't think we ever think about the things we do in being weapons or painful or hurting to other people. We're like, well, it don't affect anybody but me, and I don't care, so I don't really.
But it does. That's a lie that you're believing, because it does affect somebody else.
And guys, Jesus taught, and this is important to understand, that when in the new covenant, under the new covenant is the covenant that God and mankind have been made right with each other. It's the coming of Messiah and the new kingdom, and it's a spiritual kingdom. And he said that if I look at someone with lust, then I've committed adultery already, like I've been impure. And we look at that as like adultery's bad, but just looking at porn or making comments about a girl that walks by or a guy that walks by or watching 50 Shades of Grey or reading the books or whatever, we think, that's who can know, who cares? Well, what we've done is we've been impure sexually, we've been impure emotionally, we've broken intimacy, and it doesn't matter if your spouse has caught you or knows or not, or you do it together. It doesn't matter, because what is happening in a spiritual, supernatural place. And when that happens, trust is broken, commitment, there is holding back, a withholding, a fear is introduced. All kinds of bad things happen in our relationships, and we may not even know why. And you guys who have been through physically adulterous affairs, I've talked to so many people who are like, I don't have any proof, but I know something isn't right. I know something has gone on. And what they may be knowing may not be an affair, but it may be something that's truly going on in the spiritual, a lust issue, a pornographic issue, or whatever, an unfaithfulness into the marriage relationship, and so those things are real. Like, we think we can hide things because we can private browse, but you can't hide. You cannot hide your soul. You may not get that, but if you will start to open up your mind and start to pay attention, you're going to see you cannot hide your soul, the things that happen deep inside of us, and it's a reality.
And the things that happen before you're married are so important. The things that happen and that don't happen, things are so different between the guys and the girls, I think, before marriage or whatever. But, I mean, a lot of times a girl, in order to, I mean, I may be wrong, but in order to keep...
You're old, so...
I am old now, but in order to keep the guy that you're dating or whatever, women, ladies, girls, most of the time we think, okay, the only way to keep them is if I let them. And that is insecurity on my part, because God did not create that way. It's not supposed to be like that. In fact, if you're dating a guy and he's pressuring you for that, dump him. Just dump him, because he's not worth it. Well, you know, it's not. If he can't wait, you know, what will he do after you're married? You just don't know. I don't know. I just don't think it's just not right. It's,
why buy the cow?
Yeah. You know that's
Just
a funny
say
saying, but it's true.
JS.
Yeah, JK.
JK. LOL.
You see how old he is? No, but God didn't create it like that. And God did create sex to be great, but it's with your married spouse. And the things that you do beforehand, if you do premarital sex and things like that, it will interfere with your marriage later. It may not interfere in the first 2 years, but I can guarantee you it will show up later on. And things that happen to us when we're children or young adults or whatever that, you know, we had no control over, if you were raped or molested, and that happens to 1 in every 3 people. So it happened in this room. That stuff, when you bring it into your marriage too, and you've not been upfront and honest, that will hurt you later on in your marriage. You've got to get healing from those things, because they are terrible, awful things that God never intended it to be that way. But there has to be healing sought in those situations.
Those are what we're talking about.
Because they turn up later.
They're barriers to intimacy. You cannot give yourself fully to someone else as long as you're broken. And
there is healing.
There is.
We just sang the song. There's power in the blood, and there's healing. So, I mean, there's hope if that has happened. Definitely. Always. So, anyway, just don't do it. I know it's a terrible thing to, you know, just say don't do it. But, man, we've seen so much heartache.
Nike said just do it.
Yeah. But we've seen a lot of heartache in that.
No
it
means
shows
no.
up later. So, huh? Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. So another thing, if you think that your sex life is going to just be magically fixed in the bedroom, you're wrong. It's going to be fixed in the living room. Stop. You're just not getting it, aren't you?
I want to tell you, we're just who we are, and we can't help that.
Yes.
The
That's
issue,
a spiritual gift, is sarcasm.
The issue is that we've had major sexual issues in our marriage, and
I think most people have if they're honest.
yeah, but they're not honest. So. Everybody's like, wonder lover. You're not. We've had issues, and we did everything wrong trying to fix those things and cause more issues, and that's a very bad thing. It was so counterproductive and so frustrating, and man, guys, this can be learned. That's the good news. Like, man, if somebody had just taught us, you know, but we, you know, knuckleheads, we just went at it, you know, and it didn't work. And so, but guys, I'm not talking about a week or month. I'm talking about years.
Yeah.
I'm talking about many years, to the point of you just lose sight of even why you're married. What's the point of all this? I've told her more times, I remember going through that, like, you know, we're roommates. like we're good friends and we're nice to each other, but we're just roommates because we don't have any type of marriage whatsoever. And
It was hard for
it
a
was,
few years.
man,
we
it was
were-
terrible. And I wouldn't say that was intimacy. That was not marriage. It just was.
It was just bad. But again, with our commitment to not divorce, that was our commitment in the beginning. We stuck it out, and we finally, through God, figured it out and how to do, do it right.
And I'm not
that's-
talking about this was not when we were just hooligans either.
No.
This was like we were
ministers.
Ministers.
In fact, it was worse when we were ministers.
Yeah, and then that was a whole nother issue, like because
It
then
got
when
worse.
you bring religion into your thing, then you're like,
Yeah.
man,
It was crazy. But when we learned to be honest with each other and talk it out, that's what I meant by in the living room, was to talk things out and be honest with each other and make, bring what's in the dark to light. Once you bring it out there, we talk about our weaknesses and we talk about where we're struggling, and we did a lot better. Some things came out from past, okay, that might be why she's like that.
One thing that I can tell you ladies, like very honestly, is he's never going to figure it out.
No.
I just want you to know, like she just assumed sooner or later
Read
I was
my
going to
mind.
figure it out. And all I knew was, I don't know why she don't want to have sex. I mean, that is like, for me,
They really like dogs.
why
These
don't
little
you
puppy
just
dogs.
do it? It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just, yeah, no.
guys are like, though, I mean, everything's simple. They're like simpler, just tell me what to do. I don't know. This is how I fix it.
That is true, though.
Give me the instructions.
Yeah. It is true, though, because some of you ladies, I mean, there's certain things that happened to you in the past, and maybe if like your spouse touches you, right there, right on your hand or something, that triggers something in your mind from your past or something. I mean, this is for real. Then you just totally shut off, and now you're mad at him, and he's like, what? What did I even do? I mean, it happened all the time. It was crazy stuff like that. And finally,
Man, if I looked at a girl, a lady, it was bad. Like, I mean, furious bad. Like, so I'm walking through the mall like this, like.
you better put your blinders on like your horse wears.
I'm not even turning my head, man, because. And if some girl come toward us and she was scandalously clad,
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, because
Don't you look.
I get in trouble for
Looking.
anything. Like, it was
Glancing.
a big deal.
A commercial comes
And
on.
then, I mean, there's some things you just can't help but look at. You're like,
If you look at the a commercial would come on, and it would be some, he'd have to get up. Yeah, because I immediately when that commercial come on, I'm. Oh no, this is how it was. Yeah, I was kind of hiding and seeing it.
but that's insecurities. It was, and they were rooted. I mean, I
They're
understand
rooted,
that.
yeah, and other stuff.
Everything is, and so I couldn't figure that out for so long.
But a lot of things that we did in the marriage trying to fix our problems caused more problems, right? Because we didn't do it God's way. So it caused more problems. And then it escalated all of that. I mean, it went into 10 and above. If he, looked at a girl or whatever, or in a movie, if he would go to a movie and there was a sex scene or whatever, So at that point, things changed for us. We knew there were, he had things, I had things, and so we started talking. We started putting them out in the open. Okay.
You have to communicate, though. You have to know those things. Like
Yeah.
How
Triggers.
can you avoid something if you don't even know what it is?
Right, and that's what I was doing to him a lot of the time, And so we started sitting down and talking about it and saying, you know what, whenever, somebody addresses a certain way or whatever, and you entertain that, you look or whatever, that triggers something in me from a past insecurity, and which is still current, probably. Which I had a lot of, I'm sure all you ladies have, a lot of past relationships where you were cheated on. Hello, it's the world we live in. And you bring that into your marriage. Even he never cheated on me. He was the only one that didn't. That's why I married him. But I still brought that into my marriage. Thank you, yeah.
I still pay for it. I still get the bill.
Yes, and not now, but yes. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Women are crazy. We build things up.
Amen, brother.
We build things
Women be
up in our
crazy.
heads that aren't even there. And so we had to talk about that. Certain things, father issues. I had some daddy issues, and I remember him telling me one time, I am not your father. I'm not going to do the things your father did. That was a big deal. So we had to take care of that issue. So there was a lot of stuff we had to get on the table. But here's something we did. We set up boundaries, and we did not compromise our boundaries. We still do not compromise the boundaries.
You have to flee, like the Bible says, flee from evil. There's this story of
I gotta read it.
Joseph,
So
and it's a great story. We'll get to it in a minute.
I'm going to read it.
Sooner or later. She's going to read it from the Word on the Street.
Y'all ever heard this Bible? Word on the Street Bible.
Great Bible.
That's good stuff. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that. I'll go real fast. It's too funny. It's found in Genesis, what did we say? 39. Okay. The story, there's just one little quick thing in there. Joseph actually had gone to the palace at this point. He's been put in charge of everything. And says, thing is, Joseph's a bit of a looker. And it doesn't take Potiphar's wife long to spot it. She coos, boy, I have got the hots for you. The silk sheets are freshly washed. Let's go to bed. Joseph turns her down flat. I run this place. The boss doesn't even bother checking in on me because he trusts me with 100%. I'm number one. He'd let me have anything I wanted except you. You're his wife. No way am I going to bed with you. God would hate it. He mentions God too, God would hate this. But she doesn't give up. She wears that low-cut dress and she slinks along the corridors. But Joseph keeps his mind on his job and avoids her like she's contagious. One day, he's getting one of his projects done, and the rest of the servants are off duty or out or sent away. She sidles up next to him, grips his lapels, and starts seducing him, panting, "Let's get it on, eh, big boy?" That's really in here. Joseph managed to wiggle out of his jacket, and he legs it, leaving her holding his coat. So if you can imagine this, he's like, leaves his coat in her hands and jets. He ran from the situation.
You have to figure out what it is that you need to run from.
Right.
And then you need to run from
You
it.
need to run.
And you need to stay far away from it. Jesus was teaching in the Sermon on the Mount. He says, if your right eye offends you, pluck it out. And he says, if your right hand offends you, chop it off and throw it away. So you said, that sounds weird. I'm like, well, you wouldn't keep it. I mean, you wouldn't chop your hand off and keep it. That's kind of sick. So chop your hand off and throw it away. And what he's talking about is what you look at. If it's causing you problems, then stop looking at it. And if what you're doing with your hands, if it's causing problems, stop doing that.
Right.
And stay far away from that.
It's really pretty simple. If you have a problem with eating too many donuts, don't work at Krispy Kreme. It's really pretty simple.
Don't work at Guitar Center.
Oh, he could not work there. And I cannot work at Gordman's in Tyler, because I would buy everything in that store too.
Does anyway.
Yes, I would.
Working there isn't the problem.
We set up boundaries though. Some things that in a modern world, like we didn't have in the very beginning, is Facebook. That's a problem a lot of the time. I do not and will not accept friend requests from old boyfriends. And he won't either. He will, it's not...
I didn't have boyfriends, so I don't.
He doesn't have Facebook anyways.
Wasn't that hard?
Yeah.
You can't friend request. You want to friend request me? You have to come up to me and say, man, you want to be my friend?
Like that commercial. This is all wrong. I love
You
that
just have to
commercial.
ask me if you can be my friend. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's yes. Sometimes
He just
it's
cut his Facebook off. Man, what's
Turn it
more-
off. What do
what's
you
more
need that
important?
crap for?
Really, what's more important at this point? You know, your marriage. This is for
Hey,
real.
man, I'm going to tell you this,
We're
and it's
friends.
not just about boyfriends and girlfriends and sex and everything else. Man, social media is killing your lives. You don't get it. Like you can't even, if you're in that world and you're so addicted and it's become so normal for you, man, it's ruining your life and you don't even know it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you take your phone into the bedroom, your marriage will suffer. You're going to be in trouble.
Big mistake.
You do not turn on your phone in the bed.
Big mistake.
It's bad because somebody's going to text you, somebody's going to call you, somebody's going to post a cat video that you just got to watch. Look, the world existed long before you had it, and it'll exist long after it's gone. You do not have to know everything that's going on up to the minute.
Right.
When you're in bed, focus on each other.
Right.
That
We're
is
at dinner.
intimacy.
I mean, what's wrong with that picture up there? Look at him. That's what I.
That's our world,
It
guys.
is.
That's marriage in a modern world. The reason we're not intimate is because we care more about posting what we're doing than actually doing it.
It's tough.
I'm done. I don't have any of it. I realized how imprisoning the whole thing is. And I get told by some women in the office that you still need it because you have to help people be informed. You know what? Come to church and we'll tell you what's going on and then write it down. But there's other ways to stay informed. I seem to always know about what I want to know about. I find out, and we can live without it. It's causing our lives to be taken away from us. Not just with infidelity or past boyfriends, but man, social media is a great place to cheat because it's so easy to give your heart away when your spouse is a loser and not meeting your needs, right? Then you can find that from an old friend, or whatever, and those types of things. But man, it just starts to take away and take away and take away. Intimacy is fully giving yourself to your spouse. Fully. Don't you want someone to fully give themselves to you? I mean, I think that's what we all want. What's stopping that, though? Trust, past experiences, fears of rejection, fears of somebody, whatever, people not paying attention. Man, I sit there and I'm thinking, she loves her phone more than she loves me. And that's my real thought. I'm sitting there if I left, take it or leave it. If the phone breaks, all hell is broke loose. We can't function till we get back to the store to get another one. Todd, man, he'd take it or leave it. I can get another one of them. I need another iPhone now. It's wrong.
Android.
We're messed up. I just want us to realize that intimacy, and here's what happens, and when all these trust issues and all these things are broken, we're running out of time, so I'm just going to skip ahead. When all these things happen, what I do is withhold from you the thing you need that makes you feel loved. Okay, now you need to read His Needs, Her Needs, the 5 love languages, those types of things.
Speaking of, we are going to be starting a His Needs, Her Needs Bible study. And there's a sign up on the counter back there. So if you're interested in getting involved in that, it's going to be in August. They're going to start one up for couples. So if y'all want to get involved in that, just sign up.
There's also a website. Write this down because you need this. It's like online marriage counseling, and it covers everything from spouse cheating, to intimacy issues, to sexual aversion, to, you go through all these lists, but it's step by step. They have coaching, it's everything. It's called marriagebuilders.com. And it'll walk you through the whole process. It'll teach you all of these things, and then you walk through basically step-by-step marriage counseling. Now, here's the thing about marriage counseling. People always like, do you guys counsel? Yeah, we will, but the deal with marriage counseling is like, it's not what you think it is. If you're not going to do any work, then we're not going to fix your marriage. Like, it's on you. And the reason Marriage Builders is so awesome is because you can do it in the privacy of your home. You can gloves off. You can, like, because people come to our office, they're so nice to each other. And it's like, these people aren't having marriage problems. And they're like, you know, it's because we just play the role. The thing is, you go home, you do it on your own time. Time's hard to find now. I don't know if you guys have realized that, but time's hard to find. So you can do these things when you guys have time to sit down together, and so it's good. But what you'll find out in His Needs, Her Needs, marriagebuilders.com is that there are certain things that make me feel loved. Like, this is how I define love. And for me, one of those huge things is sex. Like, you can't say you love me and then don't have sex with me. I don't get that. It doesn't register. And for her, that's not true. You know, for her, it's if you love me, then you'll leave me alone. No.
Isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah. And I can tell you, you don't even have to take all the tests. Whatever your needs are, hers are the opposite. God does that to us. It's just the way.
You know why? Because love is sacrifice.
Love is always giving up what I need to meet her need. And so what happens when we're hurt, or when we feel betrayed, when we don't have trust, when all these things get broken? If you look at porn and your wife knows about it, then she don't trust you, then the first thing she's going to withhold from you is sex. It's just that's the way it works. And so it's into whatever, though. Intimacy is giving yourself fully to your spouse. So say her need is, what, I don't say anything. I don't know. I can't think of gifts, okay? So it's like, I say I love you when I give you gifts. And it could be a card or just whatever, you know, a coupon book. She loves coupons, man. It's like, me and Justice were going to get her a coupon book for Christmas because, like, we can't go anywhere if we don't have a coupon. But
when he forgets my birthday and doesn't give me a birthday gift or anniversary gift or a Christmas gift or anything like that, then it says to me, you don't love me.
I know, it's crazy, but then her other love need is financial security. So if I spend money, then I'm in trouble.
You can't spend too much.
So it's like, do I buy it? Do I not buy it?
That's what keeps it.
Oh man,
fun.
Marriage is tightrope. Just deal with it. You're always going to be on a tightrope. You're always one step away from. You know, it's like you're one step away, man. And the thing is, when she betrays my trust, when she hurts me, when the spirit of fear, when I'm afraid she's whatever, then my first reaction is, I'm not giving you anything, you know. And so we withhold love. It's crazy in marriage how we do this, but we will withhold love from our spouse as punishment. And whatever definition of love, whatever we're calling love, whatever we need from each other. And what that does is cause intimacy breakdowns.
Right.
We cannot be fully given to each other, and it becomes in every part. Now sex is not just a love need. Sex is glue that holds a marriage together. It is the ultimate intimacy. It is being united, body, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. It's giving yourself fully to each other. And when you come together like that, you can't just take it apart. And that's why sex outside of marriage is so dangerous. You connect spiritually, emotionally, physically with this person, and then this person, and 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 then you have a mess. You have soul-tied mess. And that connection that was meant for your spouse to make you just go to this whole other place now has been spread around and shared, and now it's not just yours, and it's not just that. And so it's broken intimacy. God said he was a jealous God. Have no other gods before him. Love, number one commandment above anything else. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your strength, right? He wants the whole you. Why? Because God desires intimacy. It's a God characteristic. It's a God trait. That's why he's jealous. That's why he's furious. When people would run off and worship other idols, man, he would become bull and angry and mad, and he'd want to destroy those people. And he hates those other gods, and he would say his people were an adulterous people. He compared people worshiping other gods with them having sex outside of marriage. He said they defiled the marriage bed, and that's the level that God puts sex on. Is he likens it to that supernatural power of the relationship he desires with us. Is the same relationship that marriage should be with each other. And you can't just go around and give that away or throw it or take it lightly or and misuse it. And that's why sex was never meant to be advertising, and sex was never meant to be used. I get so tired, and I'm gonna say I won't go to a water park. I won't go. I won't go out of respect for my wife, and I won't go out of protection for myself, because women do not know how to dress today. I am so tired of seeing boobs and butts. I'm just going to tell you that. Like, I'm sick of it. I don't want to see it. I'm tired of seeing it on TV. I'm tired of seeing it at the mall. I'm tired of seeing it at Walmart. I'm tired of seeing it at church. Every time I turn around, it's all I see. Where is it become okay to sell yourself? If you want somebody who wants you because of the way you look, then you want the wrong person. You want someone who wants you because they respect you and they honor you. Every woman I've ever talked to wants a husband that honors and respects, but then they dress like tramps to get them. It don't work. Man, catfish bait is different than bass bait. Right. It depends what you fish with or what you catch. You're fishing with the wrong bait to catch what you want to catch. This is a serious issue we have. Sex was never meant to sell. Sex was never meant to get someone to look at you or want you. We have to understand that
there's no mystery to it.
The intimacy you desired can never be gained by sex first, trust first, love first, marriage first, then sex. And it makes all of those other things stronger and more powerful. And I'm telling you guys that it's got to change. My 10-year-old daughter last night was griping at me. Dad, when do I get to wear a bikini? I said, never, ever, never. Like, no, the answer is no. She said, but Sissy does. And I said, the answer was the same for Sissy. No. That she does.
Until you're
She's an adult. She does what she wants to do. Am I happy about it? Am I happy about it? No. No. I was like, how weird is it to talk to somebody in their underwear. Is that weird? But you're going to wear your underwear in front of somebody and then have a conversation with them? That's strange, right? You get what I'm saying? Like, modesty is beautiful. You are beautiful. God created you beautiful, and He loves you very much. Don't give it away. I'm sorry.
There's a few things that'll set him off.
Look, you don't want a guy that's going to be looking at women, right? Then don't dress to try to make guys look at you. If you want your husband running around looking at women, no, you don't. You don't want that. Because then you don't trust him. You think he's comparing you. You think, he wants that and not me or whatever. I don't know what y'all think. And guys, seriously, listen, ladies, I'm not making an excuse. I mean, there is a lot of lust going on. But sometimes a guy's like, it just comes on the TV and you're staring at it. And she says, "What are you thinking?" And I'm like, seriously, nothing. Like, guys can literally sit and watch TV and think nothing. Y'all don't understand that. But like, you can literally think nothing. And women, that's not an ability a woman has, I don't think, right? It's great being a guy, isn't it? How many times, it's great to just think nothing.
I wish I could do that.
I can be sitting in a chair and not think anything. She says all the time, "Why are you staring at me?"
He does all the time, just stares at me.
I wasn't. I was literally thinking nothing. It just happened to be looking your way. We can do better. We can work harder. We can have intimacy in our marriage, man. It's good, but you have to talk about it. We can't read your mind. We can't, we have to avoid those traps. We have to be aware of what the damages and what the dangers are. Intimacy is so important to our marriages. If you're having trouble with sex, get help. I mean that. Get help. Talk to somebody. Go to marriagebuilders.com. Look, they have a sexual aversion. If you don't know what that is, a lot of women deal with sexual aversion. And what sexual aversion is from any traumatic experience or bad experience or premarital experience or anything. It is the emotions that come up that block sexual intimacy when your spouse does or engages in anything that triggers those. And so it causes, and I don't know if guys can do it, but for women it causes just a complete shutdown, a turn off, and it's something that's you're not able to just willpower through.
But there is healing for it. I mean,
yeah, and Marriage Builders is great. It walks you through how to do that. But get help, because, man, your sex life is important. I mean, it is so important. It's going to make your marriage better. It's not something that should be, the world has made sex really disgusting and really whatever. And the truth is, man, we need to talk to our kids about it, and we need to share, we need to be open about it in our homes, and because it is important, man. Your kids need to know that you love your spouse. They need to know that you do have sex, and you have good sex, like you really love each other and are fully given to each other, and that your marriage is healthy and strong. And it's important because it's not something that should be shameful. It is
the thing that God made to actually commit and tie you together. So, I mean, it was made by God, so it's not a bad thing. There's purpose for it. So we are way
I know.
way over time.
I quit.
We got to go. He gets excited and gets going off on something else. So, yeah. So we'll finish that up next week.
All right.